I've seen the brand side of it, right? How did, if we take a step back and think, how did influencer marketing start, right? Where did it evolve from? It evolved from a traditional way of hiring a brand ambassador for a brand, right? Or in the traditional world, say 10 years ago or more ago, this was always going to be a Bollywood celebrity or a cricketer in India, right? Now, a Bollywood celebrity, how does he get fame? How has he become popular? He became a Bollywood celebrity, becomes popular of what he does on screen, okay, and less of what he does off screen, right? So whole of his audience is built on someone giving him a script and telling him कि तू ये dialogue बोल, तू इसको ऐसे मार, तू ये कर, right? It is all a certain script that is followed by the actor and that he is performed on screen, and because an actor or the actress is the main the characters of what you're watching and you're enjoying, that is how their fame and their popularity is built. Coming to cricketers, they are a different league altogether. They are popular for what they do on the field of play, right? These guys are used as brand ambassadors because they're icons, because they're well known, they are popular, and the country follows them, or they have a certain level of following in certain regions or the entire country. Now, from here, why brands started even to consider content creators or influencers is influencers created their own audience from scratch. They are not necessarily living a scripted life, and they have built their audience completely on their own, right? So these are people who've created an audience by doing something in the real world, in the real life, right? So when you want to when we create a campaign for a celebrity like a Bollywood guy or a cricketer, obviously you have to script it, right? You have to tell him कि हम script बनाएंगे, आप आके इसमें act करना, because आप वहीं तक हो, right? But a content creator is writing the script himself, even for his own content that he creates, right, on social media. Everything that he does in his life, he's scripting it himself. Initially, they all started by doing it as a one man army. They would write, they would record, they would edit, then they would take feedback. They would also do the marketing of those videos or the content that they've created. They have done this whole cycle, and they have done this more times than most agencies, in fact. If an agency has been 10 years in the business and the content creator has been in the business for the same 10 years, I can tell you that the content creator has done much more of this entire process than the agency would have done, right, on a certain client, right? So it is, so my personal opinion is that in today's world, if you are engaging an influencer who's a content creator and his top work in life is to create content, and the fact is that his audience is built by what he does on a daily basis. So there is no one in the world who can know his audience better than that content creator. So if you want to reach out to his audience, you have to speak his language. You can't force him to speak your language to reach out to his audience, because he will know from before that his audience will not be receptive to it. And his audience will definitely not be receptive to it when the content creator himself knows that this won't work. So it should not be a our brand is dictating to him that we wanted to say this only, but it should also not be the content creator is going all out and doing something that doesn't fit the brand, right? It has to be a marriage of the two. And this is completely unlike the traditional brand ambassadors where with a big Bollywood celebrity or with an actor, the brand follows the brand's guidelines to the T as it is, because there's nothing apart from acting from the part of the brand ambassador. That this is my input on this.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
fair point. हाँ, बोलिए बोलिए मनीष भाई बोलिए.
yeah, so basically, yes, I kind of, I mean, Abhishek did put it in a very, very structured way. Just a disclaimer, guys, when Abhishek was saying he is just a way of saying, it means he and she both. So I don't want anybody to react on it because I've seen this happening in the past, and that's why I'm putting a disclaimer. So it's just a way of saying. He doesn't mean he's only referring to male, just to keep a thing out there. So as I was saying, Malhar bhai, I kind of I mean, Abhishek put it in a really, really nice way, right? That when we say experimentation and a little bit of freedom when it comes to creation of content should be given to. So I don't like this word influencer. I call them content creators. Anybody is creating content online, so they should be called content creators. They shouldn't be called influencers. हमारे country में influencers बहुत कम है. We have only few. And we that's a different topic altogether, right? So basically, yeah, so that is what we kind of wanted to put it out there. Malar bhai, ready? I mean, maybe we can take more questions if you have any.
Oh yeah, no, no, sure. Let the audience join. Either way, it becomes a chat. So, I would request others to also share their thoughts. Only thing is, you can ask, you can request for a speaker. We have slots open. You can put your question through AC or Talk Twitter chat handle also if you want to keep it that way open for questions rather than just being interview format. Yeah.
So, Mala, can
Jaideep
I ask
bhai.
a question? Yeah,
Sure,
Manish,
sure. Please. Yeah.
my question is when we teach as a agency influencer marketing, especially not the bigger brand but the small to medium business and little lesser known brand, they ask for ROI or they ask for some tangible numbers. So how to justify that and how to calculate that?
Jaideep bhai, this is the same thing we discussed in 2013-14 when we met at Social Media Week as well. you
But
know,
this is still burning question.
the thing is that you tell them it's your return over investment is actually it is actually now ROE. It is return on engagement. I mean, how many people engage with you, because brand building and branding exercises are not done for immediate yield. It is like farming. So if, I mean, yes, of course, each and every brand, even the bigger brands for that matter, have really taken a good amount of time to understand that any marketing campaign, whether it be offline, online, whether it be a campaign based, any marketing campaign cannot be directly driven to sales or conversion of followers or anything, right? It has to be a continuous process. It has to be a process that takes a while, and then you make sure that your narrative or whatever the brand's narrative is understood by audience, and then make them your follower or make them your buyer or anything like that. So I think if the small and medium enterprises, obviously they would come ahead and say, okay, we are putting 1 lakh rupees, how much will we get back, right? So this question is always going to be there. We will always have to take the educative way. Some brands will agree to you, some will not, and the ones will agree to you will actually grow in given time. So that's what I think about it.
Thank you. I really loved ROE.
Yeah, it's return on engagement. I mean, that's what I say. Whenever I speak to any brand, or even for the content creator, like for example, let me tell you from the content creator side, right? So when I'm talking to young Instagram creator or a YouTube creator or any even a Twitter user or a LinkedIn user, they say मेरे कब followers बढ़ेंगे, मेरे कब subscribers आएंगे, मेरे कब views आएंगे. And I always tell them that, how much amount of effort are you putting, what is your production quality, what is your content writing quality, are you following your analytics, are you making sure that you're paying attention to, are you getting clicks, so are you optimizing your CTR, are you are you looking into your average view duration of a video, what are you doing about it, where is the view dropping, why did the view drop there, did you go and check back that, let us say somebody started watching a video, they started watching, and then on the 32nd minute, 32nd second, they dropped off your video, right? And there is a pattern to it. Why did they drop? What did you do there, right? So this actually goes to both the sides, even to the brand side and even to the content creator side. So yeah, that is my submission.
Thank you, Manish.
Sir, the brands which actually do influencer marketing consistently and they do it well, one of the things that I've noticed, and I worked on a few campaigns myself, is their calculation of return that they're getting on it is a sum total of various factors. It is not just just one factor. They just don't look at engagement. Neither they do just look at sales. Right? For them, it is a combined factor of a lot of various things which align to the brand's goals and objectives. For example, most big brands, or at least the ones who do big influencer campaigns, always have one central theme or a campaign idea. First that leads, right? And then they try to see who fits the campaign idea well in terms of taking the message to the audience that they are trying to target. That's one. So that is how they pick the influencers in the first place. Secondly, obviously they get into the engagement metrics, right? Here, first, one of the most important things is how many people have first got to know about the campaign in the first place, right? Then how many are actually engaging with the campaign once they've got to know about the campaign, right? And then the third metric is after they've got to know about the campaign, after they've engaged with the campaign, have they actually engaged with the brand in itself as well, right? And that is where they potentially convert into a customer. Now, when a seasoned brand is doing a good influencer marketing campaign, it is not just relying on influencers to just put out some stories or a post or a video. At the same time, they will do a 360. There will be SEO ads happening. There'll be Facebook ads happening at the same time. There'll be, in some cases, celebrities involved who will do certain part of the communication. Influencers or the content creators will do a separate part of the communication. At the same time, they'll have a parallel PR campaign going on, which is talking about the same marketing campaign, right? Only when you put all of these factors together and you understand what the brand is trying to achieve from that marketing campaign, can you actually give out a calculation of what the return on investment is, right? I've always seen brands who are doing it first time, they are very scared, right? They are very unsure. For them, they somehow the impression has come कि मैं 1 लाख डाल रहा हूँ किसी content creator के ऊपर तो मुझे 1 लाख का sale चाहिए. That is not realistic and that is not going to happen ever, right? Only if you do all of these factors together, you put them together, will the brand actually be able to meet its objectives? That's my 2 cents.
So Abhishek bhai,
Yeah.
so Abhishek bhai, what I think is, and what you explained just now is a more likely an ideal case scenario, right? Or how ideally marketing should be, right? Where influencer marketing is also a part of the entire campaign. But again, the question is how many brands are mature enough to understand this or even execute this, right? Because यहाँ पे say 90% brands still do activity based marketing, right? Campaign based marketing. And I've been in this industry for more than 15 years, right? So, in that entire scenario, right? Hardly few, and you can literally name them and say that these are the five brands who knows what marketing is, right? Who have done it years and years. They have practiced to perfection, right? तो in your what you explained, definitely ideal case scenario में ऐसा होना चाहिए. But the moment, right? And again coming from a very brand perspective, right? CMO बोलेगा मुझे I have to show an ROI, right? Based on भैया मार्केटिंग हेड तुमने 2 लाख रुपए मेरे से लिया, मुझे दिखाओ क्या है, राइट? एंड 2 लाख रुपए स्पेंड करके अगर आपने सेल नहीं किया है, आई एम गोइंग बैक एंड टेलिंग बॉस हमने 1 मिलियन इम्प्रेशन किया है, राइट? And all those vanity metrics, right? So impressions, clicks, etc. End of the day, it's still boils down to the same fact, boss. तुमने इन्फ्लुएंसर मार्केटिंग किया, एड्स चलाया, जो भी किया, धंधा कितना आया,
Sir,
right?
sir,
So coming from that perspective, yeah.
so the mature brands that you're talking about, right? How did they get matured in the digital marketing space, right? They obviously first toiled with it, that they did a little bit of trial and error. Then they figured out कि okay, this is working, this is not working, right? And then they got educated in digital marketing and the power of influencer marketing, and then they got deep dived into it, right? Now, if the
Their
agency,
CMOs were patient.
no,
हाँ,
the
their
CMOs were
CMOs,
willing to
see,
learn, right? The CMOs were willing to learn, willing to
exactly.
understand, right?
Willing to experiment, willing to spend, willing to lose money,
Correct. So that
right?
Exactly,
that is
Malar
the
bhai.
presentation of the whole brand
हाँ.
as well. Manish bhai,
So,
you were saying.
Abhishek, yeah. So, I would like to put a practical example that actually I have only executed myself. So, let me explain the entire scenario, what Malarbai said, and I've actually faced that burn, right? So, when I was working in Bangalore with R Square Consulting, where Amit Bhai and all of us used to come and do social media week as well. When I officially went and I started working there, right? And I was handling social media and influencer marketing was my KRA, right? I will give you an example of how things panned out, and all this banter happened for a month. So there was a very big car brand, automobile car brand. Uh, they had launched a new car, and the price point of that car, and the series of the car, was somewhere around 22 lakhs to 40 lakhs. And in I'm talking about 2015. So all this, whatever influencer marketing and all, was still new, and everybody was experimenting, and we did not have a surge of influencers the way we have today, the content creators. We didn't have, like, we had very we had those guys who used to be on Twitter, and bloggers were trying to make their mark. um, Vlogging was still not a trend. Video vlogs were not
Ga-
happening much.
Gamers become influencers.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Malar bhai, that's an off spaces joke that we can crack, right? So I'm trying to give you a scenario. I met the CMO, and I explained and I pitched something, right? And the CMO said, he did hear everything, and then he said, listen, I have a boss who sits in Germany, and you know they have asked me to get same thing, impression and this and that and this and that. So he told me that, why don't you bring me that standard Twitter trending thing, and give me that whole jazz. I was totally against it, and I said, listen, it is very easy for me to get you in trending and all of that. That's very very easy, but I don't really want to do it. They had given me a decent 12 lakh rupees budget, right? And for the first phase execution, what I had pitched, which people are doing today, right? I had pitched that, listen, let us not do any Twitter activity. Let us find out who are the best automobile bloggers in the country. Why don't you fly down those bloggers to Bangalore and host them, and then give them a total car experience. Let them play with the car, let them open the boot, let them open the dicky, let them sit inside the car, take picture, do whatever they want to, take them to do a test drive, maybe do because around Bangalore is a lot of nature spaces and forest, so maybe do a picnic kind of a thing, and then let them go back home and write content and review the car according to how they want to do it, by posting the links, important links of test drive, this, that, whatever you want to be promoted. And then phase two, we can do an influencer marketing campaign after the main meat of the content is ready. But it was so tough for me to, for the CMO to understand this. And he was bullish. He said, no, listen, I have told you, get me trending, get me so many impressions, get me this, get me that, and you get me that. Who are you to decide what brand wants to do? So they were not receptive to this thing. I short-headed guy, and I just said that, okay, then get it done from somebody else. I'm not doing it. When I came back to office, obviously boss yelled at me saying, 12 lakh ka campaign koi chhod ke aata hai kya? So all that happened, and then they did what they had to do, and nothing happened, because it was a 22 lakh rupees car, and you got people to tweet about it who couldn't even afford to buy a bicycle. So somebody who clicked on your hashtag and went and read the tweets, it was all crap, it was all bullshit. So even if your potential buyers were on Twitter, the quality of content which was posted for that particular product was absolutely trash, and it resulted to nothing. And after 6 months, the same CMO reached out to us. He came to our office, we spoke, and we did the campaign that we wanted to do in the way we wanted, with with the increased budget. Then we did it for 20 lakh rupees. And then when they calculated, so-called ROI of what they did then and what they did now, the ROI was absolutely 400 to 500% up, and they got what they wanted. They got a decent number of test drive booked. They got a decent number of website visits. They got a decent number of people visiting their store. So this is how brands have matured over time, and now they have understood. So now, you know forget listening to influencers or content creators. First, brands never used to even listen to the agencies, and the agencies are called creative agencies. It's their job to come up with a creative idea. But then after you take all the creative idea to the boardroom, they will shoo you off because they are sitting in a position like director of marketing and head of marketing and CMO and whatnot, and they have fancy degrees from fancy colleges, right? So this is the kind of brunt we've faced, and then we've matured, and then now the market is mature enough to understand and listen to each other. Otherwise, there was a lot of ego tussle which used to happen initially, right? So this is how things have matured.
But फिर भी say now also, and the approach that you mentioned definitely was very good at the time that you ran. उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि एक कुकी कटर अप्रोच हो गया कि आप एक सक्सेसफुल कैंपेन हुआ या और certain campaign was done in a certain way, you'll find all influencer or all brands copying the same thing. And the thought process that you brought in right at that point of time, probably no one tries to put in, neither from the brand side, neither from the influence. See, and that's where the challenge lies, right? Say again, coming from a brand perspective, ki, how much leverage should I give the influencer, or how much freedom should I give the influencer to play with the content, play with the idea? क्योंकि again, I'm coming back to the same point कि impact तो मुझे होना है, right?
How
Influencer
about this, Malar bhai?
आज
Let's take an example. Let's take a product example or a
हाँ
campaign example, and let us do a live
टा-
say
टाटा
ideating.
का टाटा
Yeah,
हाँ right. Tata did the same campaign that you said, right? Tata ne say at that point of time, I remember it correctly, I think it was 2015 or 2016. They did what you just spoke about, right? Ki they invited some of those influencers to Goa, and one of the Tata car launches, if I remember it correctly right now. And the challenge what happened there, right? Ki boss usne influence, there were enough different varieties, right? And the moment, say, one of the leading food influencer wrote about Tata cars, and the first question that popped was, or the first tweet reply that came to her or him, okay, I won't reveal, was, because you are a food blogger, तुमको ऑटोमोबाइल के बारे में क्या जानते हो, and how can you be an influencer on the automotive sector and start reviewing cars, right? तो वहीं पे आ जाता है कि as a brand, right, how much freedom can I give to the
Malar bhai,
influencers?
your voice is breaking. It's really breaking. If you can check your internet, please.
I am so sorry. Let me do that. I am so sorry. Let me do that.
मनीष पहले तो प्रणाम स्वीकार करें, इतना बहुत सही कैंपेन आपने डिजाइन किया था.
जयदीप भाई, that was long back. 2014 में तब मतलब
दैट शोज कि अभी आप कितना इससे भी अच्छे कैंपेन डिजाइन करते होंगे.
अभी तो मतलब आई एम फार अवे फ्रॉम डिजाइनिंग एनी कैंपेन्स. आई डोंट डू दैट वर्क एनी मोर. अब मैं बहुत ज्यादा कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स के साथ और स्टार्टअप्स के ग्रोथ में काम करने में जो है कि अपना फोकस ज्यादा डालता हूँ. मतलब मैंने थोड़ा सा लाइफ में पिवट किया है. हाँ, बट अगेन अगेन एज आई सेड कि जैसे जो स्टॉक्स अभी भी कुछ भी यदि करता है ऑन डिजिटल, so obviously I do discuss it with my team, the digital team, and they are they consider taking my inputs. So मैं अभी वो बूढ़े शेर की तरह कोने में बैठा रहता हूँ, और जो आके कुछ पूछता है तो मैं बता देता हूँ. That's what मेरा हालत हो गया है अभी. I've become
So
the old tiger.
okay, so as you mentioned your designation, तो what my follow-up question is कि अभी कोई नए बंदे हैं, so they either college pass out और इंडिया में home based internet, I mean especially housewives, they want to jump into internet as internet is very much available and everybody is going digital.
Mhm.
So they want to eventually build their career as an influencer in whatever sectors. I mean food,
So
automobile,
again,
parenting.
what Jaideep bhai, as I said, we need to correct the narrative a little bit. We should stop calling them influencers. They are all content creators.
Okay.
Influencer is a very heavy word, and trust me, if you ask me who are influencers in our country, I'll tell you who are influencers. Amitabh Bachchan ji is an influencer in our country. You
Right.
know, and Narendra Modi ji is an influencer, Rahul Gandhi is an influencer, these kind of guys are influencers, you know, जिसके कहने पे चक्का जाम हो जाए ना, ऐसे लोग influencer होते हैं, बाकी लोग
Okay.
content creator होते हैं.
Okay,
And I,
let me rephrase myself. So, if they want to be content creator and
yeah,
they want to build their careers in that, so what are the quick tips you can give to them? I assume that there are plenty of them here.
right. See, so it, I mean, obviously we will be pivoting from what you know, we are here to discuss, but I don't mind telling it. You know, and it is very cliche actually. सब लोग वही बोलते हैं. I'm gonna repeat myself. Uh, First thing that you need is you need commitment. You need to be disciplined. Don't treat it like a part-time thing. It's a bloody full-time stuff. Content creation is a full-time job. I have been shouting about it, right? So be very sincere with what you're doing. मेक श्योर करो कि आप किस चीज में कंफर्टेबल हो, या आप आउट ऑफ द स्किन जाके यदि कुछ चीज करना चाहते हो या करना चाहते हो, तो यू नो मेक श्योर करो कि आप उसके बारे में पढ़ो. डोंट डोंट क्रिएट कंटेंट हवे में. आई एम सीइंग lot of people have become, you know, I am seeing these content creators who just come, and I'm so scared sometimes that bio में लिखा होता है 18 year old 19 year old, and then साथ में लिखा होता है लाइफ कोच. तो समझ में नहीं आता है कि 19 साल का लाइफ कोच, भाई मतलब तू क्या करेगा और क्या
भाई साहब
सिखाएगा.
आज 18 साल वाले बंदे का भी दिल टूट जाता है 2-3 बार, तो ही कैन बी लाइफ कोच.
हाँ, तो मतलब वही तो 4 बार दिल तोड़ के और 2-4 बार एग्जाम में फेल होके लोग लाइफ कोच बन जाते हैं. सो आई वुड लाइक टू काइंड ऑफ टेल पीपल दैट लिसन, डोंट डू इट लाइक दैट, बिकॉज इज्जत नहीं रहेगी, राइट. बहुत सारे ऐसे कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स भी मैं देखता हूँ कि उनको लगता है कि यू नो किसी और का कोट पढ़ के अलग स्टाइल में या किसी और के लाइंस को लेके और आप अलग अंदाज में उसको बोल देते हो, और उसमें आपको कमेंट्स और लाइक्स और फॉलोज और वो सब चीजें आ जाती हैं. बट ऑल दिस थिंग्स वुड नॉट सस्टेन फॉर लॉन्ग. यू नीड टू बी ओरिजिनल. सो आप अपना ओरिजिनल बनाइए, और ओरिजिनलिटी एक्सपीरियंस से आता है. So, for example, you know, it's a simple thing, right? If you want to write one blog, read a book. I mean, until and unless you read a book, you cannot write a 500 word blog, because यदि आपको एक 500 वर्ड का अपना ओरिजिनल यू नो लिखना है ब्लॉग, तो आपको कम से कम एक किताब पढ़नी चाहिए जिससे आप पूरा ज्ञान ले सको. आप अपने उस ज्ञान के आधार पे आप अपना थॉट्स बना सको और फिर लिखो. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप यदि मेरे ही ट्विटर प्रोफाइल को देखोगे तो कभी कभी मैं 3-4 दिन तक ट्वीट नहीं करता हूँ. रीजन, क्योंकि ख्याल ही नहीं आते, और जो जो आते हैं वो बहुत बेसिक होता है, या वो इनपुट नहीं होता है. वो मतलब मे भी हो सकता है कॉम्प्लेक्स हो, लेकिन वैल्यू ऐड नहीं करेगा. और कभी कभी बहुत ही ज्यादा सिंपल चीज बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यू ऐड कर जाता है, और अपने लिए भी एक इंट्रोस्पेक्शन होता है, अपने लिए भी एक लेसन होता है. हम अपने आप को याद दिलाते हैं, राइट. So these are the things that a content creator should keep in mind when it comes to structural point of view. And when it comes to technical point of view, I urge everybody and anybody who is trying to create content, please go and study the basics of the platform. Study the technicality of the platform. See what the product guys of the platform say about the product, right? For example, हर ब्रांड का अपना एक प्रोडक्ट डॉक्यूमेंट होता है. जैसे YouTube को ले ले, तो YouTube के चैनल पे आप जब क्रिएटर स्टूडियो पे जाओगे तो वहां पे एक यू नो क्रिएटर स्टूडियो का एक पूरा कोर्स है. आप प्लीज वो कितना भी बेसिक हो आप उसको एक बार गो थ्रू कीजिए, बिकॉज YouTube ने वहां पे डिफाइन किया है कि किस तरीके से कंटेंट बनाई जानी चाहिए, किस तरीके से कंटेंट की डिलीवरी होनी चाहिए, किस तरीके से कंटेंट का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होना चाहिए, कैसे कैसे तरीके से आप कंटेंट बना सकते हो. यदि आप अपने फंडामेंटल्स क्लियर नहीं करोगे और आपको लगेगा कि आप आके यूट्यूब चैनल खोलोगे, कुछ कुछ वीडियो डालेगा और वो चल जाएगा, तो आई एम सॉरी, नहीं चलेगा. वो 10 साल पहले 5 साल पहले के जो भी यूट्यूब कंटेंट क्रिएटर थे, उन्होंने वो फर्स्ट मूवर एडवांटेज ले लिया है. और अब जो है राइट नाउ, you know, 2020 to whatever time, next 5 years 10 years is going to be a very difficult time to come and nail it as a content creator, because first, a lot of people are trying to do that. Second, the algorithms are changing and there is a lot of traffic. Like आप समझो ना, यदि एक छोटा सा संकरी गली है और उसमें 100 लोग घुसना चाहते हैं, और एंड ऑफ द गली में जो है कि आपका सक्सेस बॉल रखा हुआ है, तो भीड़ मतलब सबसे ताकतवर इंसान ही आगे निकलेगा ना, या तो सबसे स्ट्रेटेजिक जो होगा वो आगे निकलेगा. So you have to go back to the basics and think about it, and then make content and then put it out. This is my submission of thought.
जयदीप सर, आपने जो सवाल पूछा है ना, मनीष सर उस पे 1 घंटे का क्लास लेते हैं नॉर्मली. So I'm amazed at how he is put it together in 5 minutes.
So, sorry for asking wrong question.
No, Jaydeep bhai, it was absolutely a right question. And many people need to ask this question again and again and again, because even I ask myself this question that, okay, if I'm framing a tweet today, आप यदि मेरे ट्विटर टाइमलाइन पे जाके थोड़ा सा देखोगे ना, तो आपको एक एक पैटर्न नजर आएगा. टाइम ऑफ द ट्वीट, वर्ड्स ऑफ द ट्वीट. यदि वो ट्वीट में 11 बजे कर रहा हूं तो मैं कितने वर्ड्स की ट्वीट कर रहा हूं, यदि मैं 3 बजे कर रहा हूं तो कितने वर्ड्स की ट्वीट कर रहा हूं, और मैं यदि रात को 9-10 बजे कर रहा हूं तो कैसा ट्वीट कर रहा हूं. इमोशन ऑफ द ट्वीट, यदि 11 बजे किस टाइप का ट्वीट चलेगा, 3 बजे किस टाइप का ट्वीट चलेगा, और 11 बजे रात को किस टाइप का ट्वीट चलेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मेरा भावना कुछ भी हो सकता है मेरा भावना, बट आई रियली पे अटेंशन कि इस पर्टिकुलर इमोशन के साथ विच टाइम ऑफ द डे पीपल विल relate more. And now this is a cognitive knowledge that you gather after you've done 100k tweets yourself, right? And you guys fall in that criteria, you, Amit bhai, Malar bhai. I mean, I never shy away from saying that I've learned to be on Twitter from you guys, that I have been very vocal about it, right? So these are the ways we need to kind of keep a focus. And imagine, ये तो मैं ट्विटर का एक तरीका बता रहा हूँ. मेरे पास ऐसे ट्विटर के लिए मैं 100 चीजें बोल सकता हूँ, वैसे मैं इंस्टाग्राम के लिए, यूट्यूब के लिए अलग अलग 100 चीजें बोल सकता हूँ, जो मैंने खुद अपने एक्सपीरियंस से सीखा है, खुद मैंने उसकी नोट्स बनाई है, खुद जो है मतलब और उसको बारंबार करके देखा है और वो चलता है, तब मैं मानता हूँ कि चलो ये चलता है, तब मैं उसके बारे में बात करता हूँ. तो या दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड.
मनीष भाई, तो ये आपने जो बोला ना, उसी के ऊपर अगर हम आगे जाएं, तो आपने आरओई की बात करी थी. सो अगर एज अ अगर मैं छोटा ब्रांड हूँ या एक नया ब्रांड चालू कर रहा हूँ, या मैं इंडिविजुअल हूँ, और मुझे इफ आई स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन creating a brand for myself, creating some audience around myself on different platforms, तो what would be the right way to have the attribution tracking done, और जिसके अंदर ऑफ कोर्स, क्योंकि बूटस्ट्रैपिंग होगा, तो हाउ वुड keep the costs low, because बड़े brands, they can buy a lot of stuff, there are a lot of tracking softwares out there, they can of course create huge dashboards, but how would a small brand would do that, and उसको क्या एक्चुअल में देखना चाहिए, क्योंकि डेटा इतना ज्यादा होता है, तो क्या चीजें हैं अवॉइड करनी चाहिए.
धवल, आई वुड लाइक टू से दैट यहाँ पे ना फंडामेंटली थोड़ा हिला हुआ है, राइट? मोर देन अ ब्रांड, आप प्लीज पहले प्रोडक्ट स्पेसिफिक हो जाइए कि आपका प्रोडक्ट क्या है. एक इंसान एक प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है, एक पर्टिकुलर ब्रांड के बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स हो सकते हैं, राइट? सो उस प्रोडक्ट को आप पहले समझिए, और उस प्रोडक्ट के हिसाब से कौन सा प्लेटफॉर्म सबसे ज्यादा रेलेवेंट है, आपके सबसे ज्यादा एंगेजर्स, जो आपके कंज्यूमर्स या कस्टमर्स, जो भी आप कहना चाहो, या आपके जो है कि जिनको आप इम्पैक्ट करना चाहो, जिसको आप इन्फ्लुएंस करना चाहो, वो लोग कौन से प्लेटफॉर्म पे है. आप पहले उस प्लेटफॉर्म को आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए और आप उसी प्लेटफॉर्म पे फोकस कीजिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, लेट अस से इफ यू आर एन एंटरप्रेन्योर and if you're trying to build a brand like an entrepreneur, then you have to maintain two profiles. One, a profile of what you have learned with your experience and put it out there for others to learn from you. Another, you are the brand ambassador of the product that you're trying to build or the product that you're trying to sell. Then you will have to speak about the making of it, the process of it, how things are happening. You will have to be open enough and tell the story out to the world. End of the day, how do you package your story and how do you put your story to people, to in front of people, for them to consume and learn and add value in their life? If you do this, then it will make sense. Then आप next level पे आओ कि आप कैसे उसको track करोगे, कैसे उसका metrics पढ़ोगे, वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है. पहले हमको बेसिक्स और ये फंडामेंटल सही करना बहुत जरूरी है, अदरवाइज उन सब चीजों का कोई मतलब नहीं बनता है. That's what I wanted to add it on that.
Can I answer the tracking part for Dhaval?
Yeah, why not?
Sure,
Please,
dude.
please go
Yeah,
ahead. Go
so
ahead.
I
Absolutely,
am totally
absolutely.
working on ROI based campaigns since last 1 year now. I have worked with two education agencies where there was one in which there was no tracking details. So GTM and Google Analytics, you can make some things like some processes in them, and you can track through those. Otherwise, if you have a backend process, you can work on coupons and you can track the sales via coupon. This is what we are using currently, and this works best. And GTM, Google Analytics are free for you, so that will be great for you. And all what Manish said was perfect. That you have to first follow the process. You have to understand the product. You have to understand the audience of the content creator, and then you come on the tracking part and everything that is later.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who've been doing in I mean content creation and brand management out here. Dhruv bhai is here. I see Lavin bhai here. These are legends. You should Malar bhai. You should definitely invite them and pick their brains on the particular subject as well. Maybe why don't you invite them as speaker right now? Dhruv bhai, you should send in a request. Maybe let's jam on this. Lavin, you also please. Apart from that, if anybody has any other questions or if you want to take this conversation to any direction, let's do that.
I have a question,
Sure.
if I can come in.
Yes, yes.
Uh, Hi, everybody. I'm Dharmesh. I head a technology company, and we recently started a brand. It's a bootstrap with self fund called Hello Pixie. So, overall, our experience with the influencers have not been that great. Of course, we do a lot of things ourselves as well. But whenever we went on a route to get paid promotion or paid some money to get some return on whatever the posting was done by the people we hired, usually we have been disappointed. And not just here in India. We recently opened in Morocco, and we paid around 3,000 US dollars for influencers on different platforms. But what we got out of it as a brand was not very encouraging. So though today I have certain budget, but it is very hard for us to find a right influencers who would do justice to money we spend, basically. So
Dharmesh, if I can answer this
yeah.
in a very subtle way, right? See, understand, and this is a submission of thought that I give to any and every guy, every person who's trying to build any tech product, right? For a tech product, the promoter of the product, that means the co-founders,
Hmm.
have to be the brand ambassadors. You cannot depend on any influencer. So I would kind of want you to maybe work on the product and work on your brand itself so that you can tell your own story. If you hire a brand
Hmm.
ambassador or
Hmm.
any content creator to speak about your product, trust me, nobody can do any justice to you. आप पैसे
I
बर्बाद ही होंगे. इससे अच्छा आप वो पैसे है ना, आप अपने प्रोफाइल को बिल्ड करने में लगाइए.
hmm.
आप एक अच्छा ब्रांड स्ट्रेटजिस्ट हायर कीजिए, जो
Hmm.
आप एक अच्छा मार्कॉम का बंदा हायर कीजिए या मार्कॉम के प्रोफेशनल को हायर कीजिए, जो आपके पीआर पे, आपके ट्वीट्स पे, आपके लिंक्डइन पे ध्यान दे. दैट विल add more value than hiring influencers or content creators and
Hmm.
asking them to speak about
I
your particular
hmm.
thing. This is
I
what will work. Nothing else will work, trust me.
thank you, Manish. I just want to put little clarification here. The brand which we try to work for is not a tech product. We have a tech background, but it's a retail product for brand for creating photo book. It's
Again,
a
it's a
name is
tech thing. It's a tech thing. It is to do with technology. It is to do with mobile phone. It is to do with
hmm,
photo. It is to do with digital.
hmm,
When you say
hmm.
digital, it becomes tech automatically. I mean, that's
Okay.
that's as layman as it is, right?
Hmm,
Or I can add what Manish said. You can
hmm,
hire somebody and take them on a what we consulting mode or something. And technically, he or she should be a part of a core team, and his or her photo should be on a site something. So core committee kind of stuff. And
okay.
if no, not in any team want to take up
Hmm,
this as a marketing thing, hire a
hmm.
person who is very active on this platform and talk about equity or talk about some remuneration, and you can take it that way as well.
Okay. Great.
There is one
Uh,
one thing that I would like to add, because
yeah.
even I
Sure.
doing ROI based marketing. So there is one thing what I do is usually I try if the brand is good and someone is already using that, I try to convert those people who are already promoting them or they are using those into like they might have their own base. So you can start with the micro or nano level. That is also option where they are already using your product. So they will be easier to contact and convert.
Yeah, this is one thing that the fundamental that we need to change, and it's a request actually to everybody. Stop speaking about the brand and start speaking about product. I mean, think and focus on the particular product. One brand can have many product, and each product can be treated in different ways, right? So whenever you are strategizing any digital campaign, strategize for the product, not for the brand only brings a uniformity to whatever the product kind of wants to offer or wants to give it to the world, right? So आप अपनी सोच को और अपने शब्दावली को भी बदलिए, अदरवाइज आप फंस जाओगे, आप भंवर में फंस जाओगे. ये मैंने होते हुए देखा है बहुत बार. That's why I am putting this thought out there.
Another thing, just to add, many times I've seen the brands try to engage in influencer marketing. Their end goal is not very clear. In many cases, like the end goal is very vague. हमको sale चाहिए, right? But do enough people know about your product in the market first of all, right? If they don't, then your first goal has to be education of your product to the people whom you want to buy, right? People are also smart. They will not just buy the product just because they've heard of it from someone. They will want to know more about it. But if they've already heard about the product and they know a little bit, but they've not never considered it, they will get that additional push if a certain content creator whom they follow really is talking about it or he claims to be using it or has made a detailed video and reviewed it, unless those things come in place, right? So in many cases, I've seen the end goal is not very clear. Sometimes it is engagement, sometimes it's getting followers, sometimes it's just randomly sales. But only if it is your product goals are very clear, point one. And two, then if you have to evaluate if influencer marketing is the right way to go for you, right? If you're looking for certain eyeballs and certain visibility, who knows, PR might be a better option, right? So you could focus your efforts on doing great PR. But
Yeah.
first you get your marketing objectives in place. Why? What do you want to convey? What do you want your end user to know, right? If education is your only goal in the first phase, then your influencer marketing campaign will differ from when you're trying to push sales, right? There's a difference. And then together, once you identify your objectives and goals 100% accurately, only then can you kind of work towards making the influencer marketing work for you, because otherwise it goes in different directions, and in most cases it doesn't work out well.
Yeah, see when.
Just a small thing to add to what Manish bhai has said. Now, correct that no, the companies need to understand that they have to come out of the brand mindset and go into the product mindset. If you take an example of the financial services from where I come, you see we generally publicize the product because a brand might be a great, but they might not have a good product which fits into a certain segment or a certain portfolio. And that's why if you see the advertising strategies of all the financial industries, whether it is a bank or an insurance company or a mutual fund, it's generally revolving around the product and not overall the bank. When the larger banks were there, and at the time of 2009 when there was a financial crisis, at that time banks were keen to build up a brand that this bank is safe, there is no risk in banking with this particular bank. But now when all the banks are somewhat at similar level, the entire strategy revolves around the products and not the brands, and I think that's the correct way to do it.
Yeah, I think the host of the chat is left aside. So, Mr. Host, we give you Izzat. Come in, ask, say something.
Yes, yes. I'm enjoying the conversation. So I had one particular question.
Sure.
Let's so this particular paradigm shift of brand approaching an influencer for their own products, for the face value, like Bollywood or sports personalities. That thing changed in 2016, 2017 when YouTube and Instagram uh, started booming up with content creators, with the geo coming into the picture. Now these influencers, if we consider any lifestyle influencer, an FMCG brand can uh, do their product placement with them, maybe ask them, but the audience is maturing day by day, and they know that this particular influencer has now started showing um, hair oil or something, into their daily content. So it's very easy to identify. So how will it change in future, because the audience is being more and more smart? How will it change in future that they'll be very it's the placement will be very in a subtle way, and not direct promotions.
Yeah, I think, in near future you will be seeing that brands and products will start creating their own content platform stronger and stronger, and then obviously they will have advocates to the particular thing. Like for example, with beauty, I guess, with beauty and lifestyle, I guess this is very very what do you call, maybe, I mean, I think classified is the word. It is that, there are certain influencers, certain content creators, both male and female. They focus only and only in lifestyle, beauty, and clothing, right? And they do only those kind of things, right? They and Here I think a little bit of maturity from content creators also should come, that they should define that which are the brands they want to be associated with, which are the products they want to be associated with, and which are the products they don't want to be associated with. They should be known for a particular thing. They should be a known for a a genre of things, not everything at all, right? What Malar Bhai was also explaining earlier, that how can you have a food blogger write about car, right? So that makes sense. And there are brands who do this mistake. There are products who do this mistake, right? So we need to be mindful of all of these, guys. I have another call in 3 minutes, so I'm sorry, I'll have to exit. But it was fun talking to everybody. I hope I did justice to whoever asked me whatever question. If not, please DM me, and I will reply to those. And Malar bhai, if I may take leave, I have another call in 3 minutes, and then
Absolutely,
maybe
absolutely.
let's connect again. We've spoken for an hour. I think it was a very very nice discussion. I have learned a couple of things as well. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I'll see you guys.
No, no, definitely.
Thank you, Manish.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye. Bye.
absolutely. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming. And if everyone wants, we can continue the conversation, and we are totally okay.
Sir,
Mm.
I have to leave too.
So,
I'm
so,
sorry.
so,
Thank
uh,
you.
so,
Thank you for giving me 2 minutes.
no, Abhishek, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. That was lovely to have you. Okay, I
Uh,
still see few folks there.
yeah,
Or
for rest of the team
yeah,
or
Dharmesh.
people
Go ahead, go ahead,
here,
please.
I my question is still kind of open. When we have a brand which is very startup, for a lot of big brands there's a lot of options and continuous activity which supports this entire marketing activity. But for startup brand which are not funded, to work with the marketing and influencer people is really tough. How do we solve that puzzle basically? Sometimes for one post
Dharmesh,
on Instagram, people ask for 15K or 20K, and they just put there on their storyline. They don't even make a post, for example. I am going little below on the ground, for example, what happens typically, and then uh, so anybody has any suggestion, any feedback, any reference for some platform where a startup brand who can spend monthly, say 10, 20, 30, 40,000 rupees a month can get a very good return in a long term.
so Dharmesh, what I can suggest you should develop a database of your target audience who can influence, I mean, a person who can influence the target audience. So,
Mm,
you mentioned, photo app. So, if it
mm,
might be for kids, so you should
mm,
start hunting people who write about parenting or who write
mm,
about child or pediatric things. I guess
mm,
Dr. Maulik was part of the discussion. He is a pediatric doctor. So you need to make a database of that, and then you can strategize for January. I will talk with PDAC. For February, I will talk with parenting bloggers, and
mm,
so on and so forth. So this will help you to touch upon various your user base, and then after a certain time, you need to start repeating that user base. So a brand recall value will help you out for that. And
okay.
again, I'll suggest when we talk about budget, so I keep giving example. Being agency, we talk with lot many clients. So I keep giving example. If you want to drive to Ahmedabad to Baroda on express highway, so there is no petrol pump over there. So you need to fuel whatever minimum requirement of that. So same like
Mm,
marketing. So if I might have a budget of 5 lakh or I might have a budget of
mm,
5,000. But
mm,
if it's not sufficient for cause, I will not spend that money. I mean, so that all money will be wasted. So
mm,
respective 5 lakh, 5 crore, 5,000, whatever amount there. But
mm,
if your agency or if your CMO says this is not sufficient fund, then I'll
mm,
suggest you to hold your horses and
mm,
try to understand why it is not sufficient to reach that goal, or break your goal into steps. So if you want to reach to 1 lakh, for example, 1 lakh downloads, to start
mm,
with how we can get 100 download first.
mm,
Or you try to, so I was reading one growth hacking techniques and Dropbox
mm,
did. So they did,
mm,
they start running referral program, and in initial days they get plenty of downloads. So
mm,
this is one of the examples. So try to, I mean, if you have a laser budget, to try to break your goals and try to
mm.
achieve your goals accordingly.
Uh,
Okay.
Hi, I would like to understand your objective actually for answering your question.
Okay, my objective, I say we already have 2.5 lakh registered user on our platform as of now, and I clock gross revenue of around 3 lakh rupees per month on this app. What we do is, in a one word, we print photo book, photo calendar, and canvas, and it's a very fantastic app, and everything is done on mobile. So my objective whenever I do a campaign is to get people to download and use the app, not to generate a business. So we have been very clear, and when we did few campaigns, we gave away good discounted photo book coupons and other things to influencers to empower their post also. So to some extent, because of our background, we understand, certain support to be given. Now, even after trying to help a lot to few influencers, we did not get enough traction on it. So our objective was always to create a coverage, reach the product to the maximum people we can. That's it. And we were promoting specific product from our app. So if we are selling four products, we were only promoting one product that time. So objective is, if we spend money, let's say we spend 20,000 with some influencers, then there should be something which we get in return. Say we got 100 users who registered and downloaded our app, for example. That's a good enough for that's a, I don't know if that translates into right financial number, but something like that. And lot of my 5 campaigns failed. That's why I am bringing up this discussion into this forum. Maybe somebody can give us more insight on how to do it, or from where to source right kind of influencer. I hope I made my question more clear.
Basically, you are low on budget, so I think you can try only two things. You can either go for nano influencers, but the problem is there. You might
Hmm,
not have that targeted audience at that place,
hmm,
but you will get more reach and
hmm,
more conversions compared to what you go for micro. And in low budget, you will convert a lot of people when you go for
hmm,
nano or nano level. Basically, you can try
hmm.
for people with 1,000 followers plus or somewhere in
Hmm.
that range. This way, because
Okay.
your product is more kind of a lifestyle product, so I think a lot of people can do that. Otherwise, you can try for if you are going for a product, I mean for a different model which can be similar to affiliate model. So sometimes with influencers, we pay them a commission on the basis of the conversion that happens. So you can
Hmm,
try that because a lot of influencers or content creator do affiliate marketing for on their products, and there they don't get any particular fixed amount. They do
hmm,
it for the purpose of commissions. So you can try that model, and but it is a little tough to convert for that model.
hmm.
So I think nano influencers will work best for you at the initial level, and then you can scale up, and you can find a lot of nano influencers very easily, and yeah, they will convert also.
So
Yeah.
just
Hi,
Yeah, right,
Dharmesh.
Durgesh. Agree with
yeah,
yours.
hi
Exactly what
Gurbhat.
Durgesh said is like 100% true. Instead of trying out big influencers who would charge you in lakhs, it is better to go for nano influencer or micro influencer who have a engaging audience, who trust those kind of nano influencers, and can promote your app over there via some stories or reels or anything. And I think that might be that might be helpful for your brand.
And also like they can
Miss
showcase
Krishna,
it
I'll
in
just
a really nice,
like
like creative and fun way, as in to show that your product, what sets your product up, like really apart from the other brands or other different sorts of thing that's going on in the market. And also like you can set monthly giveaways and contests for like more followers and more visibility stuff.
Uh,
Right, ma'am, just because we were talking about nano influencers, I'd like to talk about the creator perspective. I would just like to know from anyone in the panel if they could just advise, like, if there is a nano creator who's just about to get his first brand deal or like first couple of.
Sorry, missed you. Can you come again, please?
Yeah, we're not able to hear
Okay,
you.
I think yes, we are not able to hear it. So,
my
Dharmesh,
question to all of you
I
is,
had
I like your suggestion, but for us as a brand, to find out right kind of nano influencer has been a really tough task. And if you have some sort of suggestion or some probably website where we could look up for these people,
Yeah, I
uh,
can definitely help you with it. Like I have a lot of database and I'm a blogger myself. So yeah, I can connect with you or
please do
DMs
that.
There is
and help you with
there is
it.
an
Yeah.
so there is an alternate way, which is the easiest way that I usually use.
Hmm.
You can go for hashtag, and you can search people through a hashtag or a particular location if your like your product is
Hmm.
sub like
Hmm.
in a particular location. You can
Hmm.
find hashtags, and there are a lot of different companies who are already doing who are your competitors. I will say so. You can
Hmm.
their hashtag. You can contact their influencers as well. That is the easiest way. You can reach out to
Okay.
them because they have worked with the company, so they can work with you. Otherwise, you can just use any hashtag which is related to photography or like photo book or something like that. Then you can get a lot of influencers there very easily, and you start just contacting them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your input.
Yeah, also you can send your a free demo to those influencers and ask them to try out your app, and then they can promote it on their platform.
No, I think all this input has
yes, sure.
been great. Thank you everyone for uh, some more light on this topic. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, and it
Awesome.
was so good to have you
Yeah.
on this. All right, Path, you want to wrap up? Final comments?
Yes. So uh, before we wrap up, this is particularly SEO Talk Twitter chat. We have been doing Twitter chat since last 8+ years, and it is India's one of the oldest digital marketing Twitter chat going on. Uh, we are experimenting with this new format, and we are doing it on alternate Mondays. Like this Monday, we are having Twitter Spaces. Next Monday, we'll have a Twitch chat. So thank you all who joined in today. Thank you, Manish, by the guest. Was already left because he had a call and commitment at 10:30. But we appreciate all of you joining us tonight and having a lot of conversations around